Hello and welcome everyone, and welcome all fellow professionals. Today we are here to discuss a topic of utmost importance and that on occupational safety, and that is personal protective equipment, commonly known as PPEs. Now this equipment is not just a set of tools, it's the fundamental aspect of workplace safety. A crucial line of defense protecting millions of workers across various industries from potential hazards. Personal protective equipment encompasses a wide range of gears, each designed to mitigate specific risk, from helmets that shields our head against the impact to gloves that guards our hands from cuts and chemicals. Each piece plays a vital role in ensuring workers' safety. Safety goggles protect our eyes from flying debris and respirators that shields our lungs from harmful dust and fumes. And high visibility clothing ensures we are seen in hazardous environment. The significance of PPE cannot be overstated. In many cases, it is the difference between a safety of at work and the life-altering injury or illness. But using PPEs is not just about put on a helmet or a pair of gloves. It's about understanding its proper use, the science behind its design, and the rigorous standard it adheres to. Each piece of PPE is governed by a specific manufacturing code, ensuring it meets the highest standard of quality and safety. These codes dictates material, design, and performance criteria, ensuring that every piece of equipment can withstand the severity of the workplace. Now then comes the testing code. Testing codes take this a step ahead. That is a step further, subjecting the PPs to stringent test that stimulates real world conditions. This rigorous testing ensures that PP will not only protect but will hold under the extreme conditions, providing reliability when it's needed most. Then comes maintenance, an often overlooked aspect is also crucial. Proper maintenance ensures PP retains its personal protective properties over the time. This includes regular cleaning, inspection, and replacement when necessary, ensuring that every use of PP is as safe as the first. But let us remember, PPE is the last line of defense. It does not replace the need for a robust safety practice and hazard mitigation. Instead, it complements these measures, ensuring a comprehensive approach to workplace safety. So let us embark on this journey to understand the language of safety spelled out through the codes and classification of personal protective equipment. Our commitment to these standards is not just about compliance. It's about the well-being of every individual who puts on these equipments with the trust that it will safeguard their lives. So now let's see what PP, or personal protective equipment typical standard involvement. So because we are talking about standards, so let's discuss on this element as well. Personal protective equipment typically involves various code and classifications categorized based on these three criteria: manufacturing code, testing code, and maintenance code. Now let's break it down to understand these requirements very specifically. So manufacturing code would relate to the standard and specification followed during production of BP. It might include information about material used, the manufacturing process, quality control measures, and compliances with the industrial standard. The second aspect that comes to is the testing code. So the testing code refers to the protocols and the standard used to test the PPE. It includes the method for testing durability, safety, and effectiveness of the equipment because it has been tested for various conditions. So these codes they ensure that the PP meets certain safety criteria and are capable of providing the intended protection. Now, third aspect comes to the maintenance code. This code would guide the proper maintenance, cleaning, and storage of PPE. It's crucial for ensuring the continuous effectiveness of the equipment. So the maintenance is required. The code might include instructions on how to properly clean the equipment, how often it should be inspected, and what is the lifespan of the product. So that is being given in the maintenance code. So when you are referring the standard, you have to categorize and divide this code into these three criteria: manufacturing, testing, and maintenance. So understand it accordingly. And it is very simple. It's not a rocket science. When in next we will see the checklist, I'll define all this for a better understanding. Now, each of these code play a vital role in ensuring that the PPE is safe, effective, and reliable. They are often governed by national and international safety standards, and all these codes, they focus on, they might have different names, and we might have seen on different PPs the different codes. Why? Because some PPs, some standards, we see that okay, this standard is good, so we have kept those names. Some say that okay, this code is good, so we have used that. So that is how the international practice has developed. Correct. So I have just listed down a few codes. What you're seeing, basically, these are not the codes. These are the organizations that govern it. So listing all the manufacturing codes for personal protective equipment is quite extensive. As these codes are significantly depending on the type of PPE, the country or region where it's manufactured, and specific standard and regulations that apply. However, I can outline some of the common standards and organizations that define these codes. Say, starting from ISO. What is ISO? International Organization for Standardization. ISO provides various standards for PPE manufacturing. For example, ISO 11611 and ISO 11612 for protective clothing against heat and flame. So when you are working in hot environment, these are the codes that you need to refer to: 1161 and 1162, 11612, 11611 and ISO 11612 for protective clothing against heat and flame. Then comes European norms, that is EN. So in Europe, EN standards are prevalent. Like you might have heard about EN 149, for instance, specific requirement for filtering half mask for protection against particles. Correct. Then comes ANSI, that is American National Standard Institute. ANSI stands widely for, these standards are widely followed in USA. Now ANSI Z87.1 is the standard that you might have heard. This is for eye and face protection devices. Z87.1. So this is the ANSI standard that stands. You might have seen it on eye and face protection devices. Then comes the ASTM International, formerly known as American Society for Testing and Materials. So ASTM International, or American Society for Testing of Material, that is, this provides various type of PP such as ASTM. I believe that you might have heard about F2 2413, that is for foot protection. So safety shoes and foot protection, this system is used. Correct. May it be electrical or may it be gumboots and all. So F2413 is the foot protection standard. Then you might have heard about NIOSH, NIOSH, that is National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. In USA, again, this is NIOSH standard, especially for these are standards derived for respiratory protection. You might have heard about N95 mask recent days, right? For our crucial. Then comes OSHA. Now, OSHA basically doesn't directly set manufacturing codes, but it enforces standards that PP must meet in the workplace, specific requirement. So what OSHA says is that OSHA's demands that the person should be provided with a proper set of PPs, and uh, specific work, the PP should be selected based on the specific working condition. So that is what OSHA says. So OSHA basically is standard in US. Then comes CSA, that is Canada Standards Association. In Canada, CSA stands like we all might have seen about CSA Z94.3 for eye and face protectors are followed. Then comes AS and NZS, that is Australian standards and New Zealand standards. So these are the standard used in Australia and New Zealand. Now we might have heard about respiratory protective devices. There, some places it is written AS oblique NZS 1716 for respiratory protective devices. Now each type of PPE, whether it is helmet, gloves, respiratory mask, or safety glasses, has its own set of relevant manufacturing codes and standard. These standards ensure that the product provides adequate protection and meets safety requirements. The specific code and standards can be found on the websites of these standardization bodies and official as an official regulatory documents. So make sure whenever you're searching, what you search for website for standardized body or official regulatory document and the name. So that is the keyword that you need to search. Only then you get, and always look for these bodies. You have these names, find specific standards and codes relevant to the specific demands. Right, let's move ahead. Now coming to the common type of PP with relevant codes. In India, the Bureau of Indian Standards, BIS, Bureau of Indian Standard, BIS, establishes the IS, that is Indian Standard Codes, for manufacturing of various type of personal protective equipments or PPEs. These standards, they ensure that PPE meets the specific safety and quality requirements. Here is a list of some of the commonly type of PPEs with the relevant IS codes. Now we all know safety helmet most commonly now have become a benchmark, or a you can say the showstopper of safety. That is a safety helmet. So IS 2925-1984 specifies requirements for industrial safety helmets. Safety footwear. Here you can refer the code IS 15298 Part 1 2011 for safety, protective and occupational footwears. Then comes eye protection. So there is a code IS 5983 1980 specifies requirement for non-optical and radiational protection. Then comes respiratory protection devices, that is IS 9473 2002 for particulate respirators. Then comes ear protection, that is IS 6229 1982 and IS 9167 1979 for earplugs and ear muffs respectively. Protective gloves. Now there isn't a specific IS code for all protective gloves. It varies based on the material and purpose, like rubber gloves, IS 4770 1991, leather gloves, etc. So these are all available codes. Then comes the high visibility clothing, that is IS 15809 2008 for high visibility wearing clothes. Then comes safety belt or harnesses, IS 3521 1999 specific specifies requirement for industrial safety belt and harnesses. Then comes firefighters helmet, that is IS 2745 1983 specifies requirement for firefighters helmet. Then comes chemical protective clothing, that is IS 15071 2002, that is 2002, for protective clothing against liquid chemicals. Now these codes are subjected to updates and revision. For the most current information and additional type of PPEs, it's advised to refer directly to the Bureau of Indian Standards or the latest Indian standard publications. So you need to search Bureau of Indian Standards or the latest Indian standard publication for whatever the PPE that you're searching for. So that is the right keyword for searching out, the code of practice that you're looking for. Now, let's quickly discuss a checklist. Everybody is very much interested in this part of the content, that is the checklist. So personal protective equipments, when it comes to maintaining it, we discuss the three criterias. We discuss the manufacturing criteria, we discuss the testing criterias, and now the maintenance criteria. So when we talk of specifically the maintenance criteria, there is a very common approach, and that is use of a checklist. So what you will see, how you will maintain it. So to maintain, you must have this checklist. Now, personal protective equipment is essential for ensuring safety in various work environments. Here's a common list of items along with basic checklists to ensure their proper use and maintenance. So let us start with the helmet, safety helmet. What you will check? You have to check first, check for cracks and damages. Then the second check will be ensure proper fit and comfort. And the third check is replace suspension annually after significant impact. So inside the helmet there is a suspension, so you have to replace that. So these are the three basic checkpoints for a safety helmet. Now comes safety glasses or goggles. So first you'll inspect the scratches and cloudiness. You will verify that they fit comfortably, causing no discomfort. And the third part is cleaning lens regularly with appropriate cleaner. Most of the people, they have this problem that we don't know what we do. We just take this out and we rub it with hands or any cloth. No, it should be cleaned properly if you want to have a longer life. See, basically these are all consumables in the industry, and people struggle, like people are spending so much on this. So it is better that you understand what lens and what, when you go to any optical shop, they give you a very fine liquid, a small liquid bottle. Use that to clean your safety glasses also. That is much better. That increases the life of the glass, and you will be able to use it for a longer period. Then comes ear protection. Now, ear plugs and ear muffs. Examine for wear and damage. That is again visual inspection. Ensure they reduce the noise to safer levels. That is important. Now, how much you are hearing, very often people say that, oh, it is reducing noise, but it is not so. It is not about reducing noise. It's about whether it is actually you're able to, feel the difference of noise reduction. Because earplug can reduce say up to 10 to 20, 15 decibel or 20 decibel of sound. Earmuffs can do the same. Now, it all depends which type of equipment you are using. See what is the level of reduction of noise level that it gives, and then verify it. Now, the most important aspect in that also is clean reusable earplugs and earmuffs regularly. Before every use, you should do that. And the most important aspect is that you should not remove earplugs and earmuffs in the dusty or unhygienic environment. That's the most important part. So ear protection, these are the, again, I'm just giving you three checks for everything. So this was for ear protection. Now let's talk about the respiratory protection. Respiratory protection, respiratory mask. What you will check? You have to check for a proper seal and fit. How you check? You just check that whether the any other thing or smell is coming from outside or not. So that is the first check. Then inspect for cracks, tears, and damage filters. So whether the filters are damaged or not, whether it is in good condition, physical, all physical. Then the most important aspect is replace the filter as per manufacturing guidelines. So often we say that we have found that people use respiratory protection for a longer run, and they are not aware that for how much duration the exposure can be taken. So when you refer all these three guidelines, is the manufacturing guidelines, is the testing guide parameters, and the maintenance parameter. When you refer these three, you will know that when to replace it. So similarly, you have to check that. So you will know that okay, this much of amount of exposure has happened, so this requires replacement. Then comes the protective gloves. Now is when what you will inspect in gloves? Inspect for tears, punctures, and sign of wear. It's physical. You can check that okay, whether it is looking good or not, whether it is rightly in the right condition or not. Then choose the right type for a specific hazard. It is very important to select the glove with the for right for the use. I have seen people using those rubber dotted ones in heat. Now what happens is that cotton with rubber dot ones, when you catch hold of any hot surface, it'll melt. So that's the wrong glove. So where to use a leather glove, where to use a rubber glove, where to use the rubber dotted gloves, that is important. So choose the right. For that, you must read the manufacturer instructions. So when you are referring the standard, you must know that which type of PPE is to be used. Many places I have seen that we have standardized the PPE. Everybody is using one type of PPE. It's not so. PPEs, personal protective equipment, are specifically designed for the specific task. Whatever the use, depending on the use, you have to select the PPE. Similarly, hand gloves are also crucial. So hand protection is must. Select them by the criteria of chemical, mechanical, and thermal properties. So whenever you're referring gloves standards, you have to find out these three properties: chemical properties, mechanical property, and thermal property. So based on these three criteria, you can select the type for specific hazard. And last but not the least, ensure they fit well and allow handiness. They should not be overfitting. Suppose you have taken 7 number gloves, 6 number gloves. One person is very lean, one person is thick. So the gloves cannot be the same. You have to select based on the size. So different size of gloves are available. Select them properly and it should properly fit. That is the reason why people don't wear, and that is because the glove doesn't fit them well. It is not handy. The person will not be able to work with those. So hence selection criteria is as per this. So different sizes are available, just like clothes. You have oversize. If can you wear an oversized clothes and go? No. So similarly, gloves are also the same, right? Now comes the safety footwear. Here, the most critical aspect is check for cracks and hole in the sole. You have to check for the cracks and holes in the sole. The second aspect is to ensure that the toe cap is undamaged. That is also important. Often people don't polish it. Please polish them. Please handle them, or do them right. And the third aspect that you have to check in safety shoe is the sole, that is adaptive grip, whether it is properly, it has the sole is proper, has a proper grip or not. So these are the three basic checks for safety footwear. Now comes high visibility clothing. Ensure that the color of reflective strip are bright and visible. Check for tears and damage to the fabric, and wash according to the manufacturer's instruction. Now, whether it is high visibility clothing or any personal protective equipment, these are not to be sun dried. They're not to be kept in sun. Okay, we have washed it, just like our clothes, will dry them there. No, all these PPs, everything is to be shade dried, like it should be in indoor drying. It can be dried by air, but That is also not hot air, just normal. Just keep them and leave them hanging, have a proper stand, and it will dry. So wash according to the manufacturer instructions also. You cannot just put it in washing machine. No, wash them properly. Sometimes they need, these are all subjected to gentle wash. They are not to be washed, with harsh chemicals or soda, something like that. All gentle wash. Correct. Now, the next aspect is safety harness. Now, this is very important, PPE, safety harness. So when we talk of safety harness, you must understand that what you will inspect. The firstly, you should inspect it for fraying, cuts, and other damages. Check for buckles and fastening for proper function, and ensure that the straps are adjusted for a comfortable fit. Most of the companies, they don't even buy the harness now that has adjustable strap, which is a wrong practice. People don't understand what is the difference between fall harness and restraint harness. They are just going for L1, that is whatever is cheap is okay. Imagine, safety harness is a very wide, very important device. If you really want to try this, okay, hang somebody, hang the purchaser on the harness. He will understand why it is important to have the harness. Correct. Don't fall prey of commercials. It is better that you select a life safety gear with the appropriate cost, and with standards. So you should decide that for what purpose you need it and select it accordingly. Similarly, the next PPE is protective coveralls or body suits. Examine for tears, hole, or compromised seams. Then verify that the closure systems, that is the zippers and buttons, are functional, and choose the material appropriate for specific hazard, specifically for chemical splash and heat. So protective coveralls or body suits are specifically demanding these three criteria. Last but not the least, the face shield. So what you will inspect in a face shield? You have to inspect for cracks, for significant scratches. You have to ensure that the headgear is adjusted and fitted securely. And thirdly, you have to clean with suitable cleaner and maintain the visibility. So you have to ensure all this. So this checklist is basic guide to ensure PP in good condition and offers required protection. Regular inspection, proper maintenance, and following the manufacturing guidelines is the key for effective use of PP. Thank you, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, and fellow digital explorers, I stand before you with a humble request. Our YouTube channel is a connection of stories, ideas, and discoveries. And your subscription is the thread that weaves our community together. Each click of subscribe sparks a connection, ignites curiosity, and propels us toward a future crafted by knowledge and unity. It's more than just a channel, it's a journey we embark on together. So, I invite you join us. Subscribe us, and let's turn the pages of this digital journey side by side. Your support is the foundation of our shared adventure. Thank you.